What is up, everybody? Sorry for I guess I'm a little late, but I am here. I have my new microphone all set up and everything. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay. Um, I am in a different location. I'm actually in the spare bedroom today. I had what was it? An interview, so I had to go into a neutral setting without so I'm not in the toy room today, but I am here today with another thrill of the toy hunt. And I wanted to talk about some of the reveals lately. And also, we're going to do a tier list, which I do actually enjoy doing. I know they're kind of a dime a dozen, but I figured it's something that we can do together. It's fun, you know, can't hurt. And that's what I'm bringing up right now. So hopefully my dogs don't. Um, I'm not going to do TV shows and movies. I just want to do. All right. That I haven't opened up in a while. That I did this tier and reset. He's about to fucking lose his mind. I can hear him. Shift reset and my pop hang out in the pop. There I go. Let's make sure the stream is going all right. Let's see, make sure I can hear myself. You guys can hear me. All that jazz. Let's see here. Terry, what's going on, buddy? Hopefully you can hear me all right. Yeah, that Jive Turkey Boba. Hopefully the microphone, my new microphone that I got. I don't know if you guys can see it. Brand new mic. Got it a couple weeks ago. I just haven't been able to do a live stream. But it should sound a lot better. Woodman, what's going on, buddy? Hello, hello. Jive Turkey Django. That's right. Get them Jive Turkeys in. All right, let's go check it out. Make sure that we're doing all right here. Let's go check it out. Make sure that we're doing all right here. Okay, there we go. Sorry, a little bit of feedback there for a couple seconds. Doing well as usual. That's good, buddy. That's good. It's good. It's good. Just made dinner for the fam. That's why I was a little bit late. I had to kind of synchronize it with um, my girlfriend's schedule to make sure that she has to go to work. So I have to pack her a lunch and stuff like that. So I usually try to let me fix that a little bit. There we go. All right. Okay. So I think this can be like I don't know, just kind of a chill one. I got my douche flute. I got a beer actually. I don't ever drink ever anymore. But I figured we'll do a little bit of a chill night tonight. I don't want to make this too long. That's why I wanted to start a little bit earlier. Actually, I'm off today and tomorrow, which is nice. For some reason, my job doesn't like to give me consecutive days off, so I guess I have to use PTO. but yeah, back off my lighting a little bit. It's a little bit too much. But yeah, I opened up a couple figures that I just did. I have had the in particular for years, and just I guess I saw them in a finally went through some old stuff, and these popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even realize I even bought these. But it's actually a pleasant surprise. And I also have a custom to show you guys. I'm going to be doing them on the custom turntable. I'll be doing the YouTube short custom turntable stuff. But yeah, hope you guys are doing good tonight, Terry and Woodman so far. And yeah, we're gonna do some tiers in just a little bit. But I guess I'll talk about the two figures I opened. And I bought this guy. I think when he was on sale. I think Big Bad Toy Store a long time ago had a sale, because I know I never paid retail for this. But it's the Force Awakens SH Figuarts Kylo Ren, and this is terrible lighting. I know this room is just the drizzlings when it comes to lighting. So I'll try and not blind you guys and get him in here somehow. This is so ghetto. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. Now you can see the hood is very poofy on him. And like I said, he's a much older figure. I think this came out, I don't know, maybe 2016, 2017, something like that. But the detail and even the buckles are painted on his boots. So it looks pretty cool. I always liked his character design. Not a big fan of the character, but the design looks great. It's almost like a cross between Kylo's design, kind of like a cross between like Vader, Revan, that kind of homage, I guess. But pretty cool figure. And then another SH Figuarts that I had was the Farm Boy Luke. This is probably the definitive Farm Boy Luke. I have seen the reveals of the new Farm Boy Luke, and while I still think that this one kind of holds up, I think the face on the new one looks a little weird, but I'm going to dive into that in a little bit. But this is, I think you could pick him up for like 60, 50, 60 bucks on Amazon. So he's not too bad as far as garnishing a big price. I know if you go to like eBay, it's probably gonna be around $100. Vader 2.0 with a dash of goth, right? That's right. He is very emo. But you know what? All the Skywalkers are a little bit whiny and emo, kind of, I guess when you think of, I want to say, Luke wasn't very gothish or emo. He was more a little bit of the wine. He had a little bit of wine. You give him a little bit of cheese with that wine, At least in the beginning. He was less whiny towards the end of episode 5. He kind of had to grow up a lot quicker than he thought he was going to have to. I remember being kind of whiny when I was 19, though. I think that's what Luke is supposed to be in episode 4. A little bit whiny. Even in your early 20s, you're kind of angsty still. I feel like it's still left over, So those are the two that I've had forever and just recently opened up. I think what I'm going to use this Luke for is my Cantina display. Once I get the Cantina all printed up and figured out, and I'm still figuring out the 3D printer and kind of trying to learn as much as I can. Also learning what kind of filament to get for the printers as far as what I'm trying to print. I don't know. I kind of said that like backwards or in a weird way, but trying to figure out what to get to print or for the printing. Because if you print with the wrong color, it's going to look weird, especially like a sand color. So, but yeah, I have a custom to show you guys. I just finished it yesterday, And this is actually, the credit actually goes to Crafty Padawan. So if you guys haven't checked out Crafty Padawan's channel, I think he's a relatively newer channel, but be sure to check him out if you like a lot of Star Wars customs. He actually built a 3D printed and painted um, big portion of the Sandcrawler. So really seems like a really nice guy. He does a lot of good work. He's far more patient than I am when it comes to customs. I need to learn more patience. But he actually did this and did a full video on this, and it's actually a really good recipe. The mysterious 3D printer. I'm so confused when it comes to that. I've loved. Let me bring up that. I loved it. I'd love to learn and customize with one. Yeah, man. I mean, I think everyone should have a 3D printer, especially nowadays. I feel like it's almost like I remember like back even just 5 years ago, 3D getting a 3D printer was going to cost you like almost like anywhere from 1,500 to $2,000, and now they've significantly dropped in price, and they're kind of becoming a little bit more of a norm, where I feel like almost everybody should, within a budget, should have one in their home. I feel like it's, and not even for toy customizing, for other things, if you can print anything with a 3D printer. So it's a good tool. It's just another tool in the shed to have. And my glasses are like crooked. I don't know what's going on here. I gotta get new glasses. These are old. But yeah, like Star Trek. Yeah, exactly, Terry. Just like Star Trek. I wish we could have one of those the food synthesizers that they have in Star Trek. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. It'd put grocery shops out of business. It put farmers out of business, put everybody out of business. We had just like a food synthesizer that could just make anything you want at any temperature you want, you know? Because like I don't know about you guys, but I like my like chicken cooked a certain way. Like I like it a little bit more dry. I know that's weird. Um, but I like my steaks juicy. Not too, I don't like them rare, but like a medium. Uh, are you looking at any specific printer? Yes, the Bamboo P1P is the one. That's the one to get. I think it's on sale right now for like $500 if you're looking to get one. So, like I said, that's not too bad. $500 for a 3D printer that will go a long way, and that's probably Bamboo is probably one of the best ones, especially for action figure um, printing and the way it prints and the filament that it uses. And I guess it's a little bit easier to use than some other 3D printers. So try to stay away from some of the ones on Amazon. They're not nearly as good, and you don't want to certainly learn the hard way. So maybe I should do a video on that, just kind of, because no one really talks. And there's a couple channels that I follow that kind of will guide you a little bit, but they don't really dive into like what it is to actually understand and know and own a 3D printer. Like there's one guy that's got like 6 3D printers and a laser printer, and he's got like all this stuff, and he started with just one 3D printer, but he had to learn the hard way. So Alexa knows how you like your steak and chicken, right? Right? She probably does. I don't have an Alexa. I used to, um, which is funny. But then my girlfriend was like, "No, I don't like the government listening to my conversations." So she was like, "Throw that thing out." And I was like, "I'm not gonna throw it out. I'll sell it." So I ended up selling my Alexa a long time ago. But maybe she's got a point. I don't know, or maybe she's paranoid. Who knows? But yeah, I guess that's a cause for concern. Nowadays, people listening into everything and your phone tracking everything that you do. Sorry, I got to move a box really quick. There we go. That was like about to fall over. Um, but anyway, let me show you the custom. Actually, so this recipe, like I said, came from Crafty Padawan. Um, I did a couple different things that he didn't um suggest or did not point out to do with this custom if you want to do it. This is just a no-name Cantina patron that is actually in the movie. There are three of these gentlemen, and it is the yellow spaceman patron. So there he is. He's all finished, all done. It's just a Bosk body, and it's a little bit easier. And the funny thing about the Bosk body, and yet again, I want to give credit again to Crafty Padawan for the recipe and actually showing how to do this. He has a pretty good tutorial. The only thing that he didn't bring up that you're going to have to do with this custom is that what I did, at least, you can use any other sort of um, type of wave to tighten a joint. But when you put so let me just go through the recipe because I'm trying to get ahead of myself here. The recipe is a Bosk body, which you can get with the pretty easily now with the archive Bosk. And then the helmet is actually from a 5-inch Buzz Lightyear figure, which I'll link in the description below after the stream is done. So everyone can go check that out if they want to make one of these. Um, Vallejo sand yellow paint for the arms to match with the suit. And then the boots and the arms are both from Grief Karga. Now you can use the credit collection one or you can use the regular released one. I just used a regular released one and painted, and that looks that's pretty much it as far as that goes. So you will have to do some cutting with the boots. You actually have to cut the boots off and amputate them off the figure. You can't just plug and play because you're putting old joints with new joints. So I cut the legs off of Bosk, I cut the legs off of Grief, and super glued them. And what I did was the same thing that he did was you got to cut a little bit high, and you almost have to cut a little bit into this lower joint right here. It's not that bad. It took this custom probably took me about maybe a half an hour to do. It is not a difficult custom. And then with the head, I just used blue sticky tack, just like he did. And you have to use quite a bit of it. So you want to get a good wad of it, maybe about that big. And then kind of shape the blue tack into and insert it into the hole. And then just make the sides wide so the head can still maintain movement. So he can still move his head and everything. I did a little bit of different paint than he did. He added like a dot on the top of the helmet and stuff like that. I just kind of added some black to the back because I didn't actually see those details on there. Maybe I'm missing it, but yeah. The rest is just black paint on the gloves and the boots, and that is essentially it for the Spaceman Cantina. And like I said, I'll do a YouTube short for another custom. I've been doing YouTube shorts with all the customs I've been doing lately, and that's been a lot of fun for me to try and occupy my time. Pardon me while I hit my douche flute. All right, so that's pretty much it as far as all of like figures go. Like I said, I haven't picked up too much. I actually just bought my girlfriend a Lego orchid. So they make like flowers and stuff now. I had no idea about this. But she was like, "Oh, I want to make one of those." And orchids are one of my favorites. So I bought her one of those. And then I bought an old board game, which is called, what was it? It's a re-release back in 2021 called the something. Oh God, I can't even think. I had it as a kid. It's over here somewhere. It's called the something bridge. I have to look it up now. I'll just, you know what? I'll just look it up on my phone because that's easier. All right, so let's see what we got. Forbidden Bridge. There we go. Picked up that. I had that as a kid. That game was a lot of fun. I just couldn't, for some reason, the name was escaping my brain. All right, so let me go ahead and we'll screen share this. And then we'll go through some tiers. We'll do some tiers here. There we go. And there we go. All right. I wish there was a way I could see the chat while I'm doing this because I can't see the chat for some reason. I hate that. So we got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D, and F. I'm going to rename all of these, I think. Let's go with the drizzling shits. Not drizzle shits. We'll go D. Um, C will go mid because that's what C is. B, good. And then A, great. Oh, let's scream at people again. Great. Perfect. All right. So, really quick. I guess I could just check the chat on my phone. So, I won't. Yeah, I can check the chat on my phone. It's easier. Do that. And then me. There we go. So now I can talk to you. See, it looks good here. Kylo over there. Do this because I feel like this is like, what do you think about how you would tier Star Wars movies? And I want to do this with a couple different movie franchises. I would love to do this with GI Joe, but there's not a whole lot to do there. You know, I would love to do this with video games as well. Maybe we could do that down the road. We could do some like, I don't know, like Star Wars video games or something like that. That'd be fun. So, all right. So for my first one, where do we start here? Do we go in chronological order? I guess we could. We could go in chronological order. Oh. I think that's what we'll do. We'll start at episode 1 and just work our way through and go in timeline chronological order. So I think that makes the most sense to do here. So we'll start with episode 1 because that's the first movie we've got here. And I gotta say, I still to this day with it, I feel like maybe type of storytelling, maybe really is nearly people complain, and I feel like a lot of people via an echo chamber. I don't necessarily sort of said already. You've got your you you've got your channels like Red Letter making like a what 2 or 3 hour video about how bad it is, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I know I any movie and nitpick and pull it apart and go way overboard, especially back then even. I didn't think it was nearly as bad when I saw it in '99. So like really focused in on Jar Jar Binks. And like, okay, so like we get it, like him, the character, but like what else is the problem? Like, did you not were you not entertained by like the pod race or Darth Maul or the Jedi or the abundance of lightsaber battles that were like like doubled from the original trilogy when you look at it almost in one movie. The action was fast paced, you know, as George would always say, fast. Maybe people were so used to the pacing of the original trilogy and more highly focused on being more of action films, which I think that and I I it's good. But I would say through an echo chamber. So anyway, I don't want to repeat my episode one is I think it's mid score. I am get off weird because like it's spot on. Oh, I weird ever if you haven't. I do Woodman. On replay if they I don't feel like talk about it and stuff like as working. You can't follow Puri goes up, not living up to their expectation, and if they hate them, then it didn't about it anyway. So we're into why it's not that bad. If everybody wants to debate me, I am open for debate. But all right, so I always like to focus on story. Story is my number one thing. If it has a story behind it, even if it looks like this is not CW show, probably the most is episode 2. Me Too and Sand thing, and I'm like more Sand. I'm my 40s now. I'm just tired of hearing people make that joke. It's just old and tired, and is not. It was funny the first 50 times I heard it, and then after that, I wanted to just say, "Shut the hell up! It's not funny anymore. It's just not like it's not even like I'm getting upset about it. It's just the joke too many times. You keep hearing them say the same joke over and over. It's like, okay, you've beat the dead horse. Shut up." Anyway, so the memes aside, I think a lot of fans, which are a lot still to this day, are male fans. We watch Star Wars are predominantly men that enjoy all minority. Um, I feel like a lot of men don't want romance in their films. They want, but it's that's the thing. It's always been in Star Wars. But I feel like because it's two young actors in their prime, they probably didn't. They didn't. We'll be honest, has done it no matter what. When you are younger, in your teens, or even in your 20s, and you like somebody, you say some corny shit. Okay. And this is why I can understand some of the dialogue sounding funny or weird to an adult, because like a fully grown adult, like in their 30s or 40s, because you wouldn't say some shit like that in your 30s and 40s. But you would say corny shit. What happens, especially when you like somebody? You say corny things, and you get a giggle or a laugh, or you think it's more meaningful than it actually is, or you think in your hearing it in your head, it sounds really good, and then when it comes out of your mouth, you're like, oh, I wish I could have taken that back. You know, so but in Star Wars, people don't really do like that. They're not like, other than Han Solo, they're not overly self-deprecating. Like, oh shit, like I messed up, but he moves on. You just move on. There's not excuse me, can't say that word, humor. So the dialogue, yeah, some of the dialogue is like, okay, little cheesy. It's cheesy, but I think it's coming from a good place. I feel like, sure, for a reason, the emphasis, but all is the slow transition. Sorry, the slow transition of Anakin taking his first steps into the dark side. And that is very pivotal, excuse me. It's extremely important because Shmi dying, it helps him take that first step in the wrong direction. But you also see how the Jedi Order kind of treats Anakin. It's like they don't really truly treat him with kit gloves. They just kind of throw him in the blender and see if he survives constantly. It's almost like they are like, well, yeah, he's supposed to be the chosen one, but let's just see if that works. They don't have too much faith in him. They don't really believe in him. They don't trust him, I don't think, other than Obi-Wan. And I feel like that's why he gives a lot of kickback and why a lot of people, I think he comes off very whiny. But I don't think it's really warranted because when you're 18 or 19, you're still figuring things out, man. You're not quite there yet. So even at 17, 18, 19, those are the weird years. When you're 17, you want to be 18. When you're 18, you want to be 21. When you're 19, you want to be 21. When you're 20, you want to be 21. Those are the kind of weird years where you're, especially when you hit 18, you're an adult, but you don't have you're not able to really do anything. Like, you sure you can drive a car at 16, and at 18, you're a veteran at this point, but or hopefully, but those are the weird, like, kind of limbo years where you're trying to figure things out. So the story in general, like I said, it's got kind of all of that. And then you've got, you actually see Mace Windu in action. You see Yoda for the first time in actual action. You see new characters like Count Dooku and Jango Fett, and then you get introduced to Boba Fett, his young version, different direction, and everything feels very big and epic because they were shooting digitally. And while some of the stuff doesn't hold up as good as others, I think it's still pretty solid. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm still, I have actually changed my mind on this a lot. I would have put this at meh before, but I'm going to put it at not the drizzling shits. I'm going to put this at mid. I think it's on the verge of mid, maybe the end of good. We'll see where we end up, and then I'll move some things around, but that's where I think things kind of land as far as Attack of the Clones. I don't think it's nearly as bad, and I think it's got a good setup for the third movie, which we're going to get to right now, which is Revenge of the Sith. And people really hold this movie in high regard, which I find funny because when you look at the pacing of this movie, it's far faster paced than the last two movies. Decisions are made very quickly. Emotions are changing very quickly. The setup, I feel like, is not nearly as good as episode one. The acting is far better. I feel like everyone's kind of a cohesive group at this point. You feel for Anakin, you do. You really have to feel for the guy because, as much as he is a murdering bastard, he is also a manipulated and confused murdering bastard. He when he says stuff like, well, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. It does make sense, and people make fun of that line, but it actually does make sense when you look at episode 2, even episode 1, 2, and then 3, and how the Jedi Order are constantly second guessing Anakin and not really getting behind him. It's kind of like, if I can make a sports reference here, it's kind of like when you're drafted number one overall and no one has any faith in you, but you have all this talent and all this stuff to show, and they keep benching you, or they don't, they'll give you the starting job, but then they put the backup quarterback that is a seventh round pick in for some reason. It's the equivalent of that. Like, you're not given enough time to show your true talents, and then you get benched. Just because and that's what happens in sports, and that's sports across the board. Whether it's in this movie, Anakin, you can see, like, he doesn't really smile too much in this movie. He is very serious. He is very disappointed. He's not in a good place mentally. You can see it. And I think the only time that he actually smiles is when he's talking to Obi-Wan for the last time. And Obi-Wan goes and tells him, I trust you. I believe in you. Don't worry. And it's the discussion about him not being on the Jedi Council, but not a master. And Obi-Wan kind of trying to open up his eyes and say, hey, it's Palpatine's doing weird stuff. But then yet again, Anakin, being a young in his 20s, not quite understanding and being a little bit immature. And it kind of does really mirror an actual early 20-year-old. It really does. Because when you're in your early 20s, you're kind of, you're really trying to figure out what the hell you're going to do the rest of your life, and want to put your best foot forward and make the best steps so you can secure a good life for yourself, and try to, this is your starting point. This is your true starting point. A lot of people think it's 18. I think it's after you're out of college. And I think a lot of that has to do with, sometimes when you're in your early 20s and someone that isn't a good influence and people around you are trying to tell you, hey, this person's not good for you. Or whether it's in a relationship or whatever, and people around you that care about you are like, no, hey, listen, you don't understand. Like, this person is there's red flags everywhere, and they're you towards that road to go to. I will actually say there was a lot of people in my I guess you call it failed marriage, my previous marriage, where there was a lot of people that told me, hey, these are warning signs here. This is not good stuff going on here. And, I, same way, young and stupid, still not looking at the signs and not wanting to believe what was right in front of me. And it just took time for me to see, but Anakin didn't have time to see what was right in front of him. People even telling him, hey, and just simply not listening or making excuses for the person and trying to give that person the best benefit of the doubt. But, and that's Palpatine. But Palpatine was not good for Anakin. He completely twisted and manipulated out Anakin and even the Jedi from a big point of view. The movie itself, like I said, I would say it is probably the best of the prequels. So I will put it at good. Now this might change. I think it is better than episode 1. I do like the pacing and the character development a little bit more in episode 1 than episode 3. I feel like by episode 3, these are all established characters. These are all established actors. We all know them and used to them at this point. It's just wrapping it all up, and you can say the same for Return of the Jedi as well. So that's where I would put episode 3 for now. Like I said, I'll probably put all the tiers up and maybe adjust some things here and there. So this is not a finalized thing right now, but that's just the way I see it at this point. Actually, you know what? I'll put this up one. I'll put it up in great. I think it is a great movie, especially the opening, the big battle scene. My God, the battles in this are alone. If you're just like an action figure junkie, it's great. And the duel scene at the end is fantastic. It's very epic. All right, so we got 1, 2, and 3 out of the way. Let's go to the Clone Wars movie. Now, the Clone Wars movie is, I guess, a point of contention for a lot of people. A lot of people do not like this movie. I don't think it's the most egregious thing I've ever seen, and people act like it's like a pile of garbage. I've watched this movie dozens of times, and every time I'm just like, okay, so it's like they didn't quite have it figured out, kind of like people beat up season 1 and 2 of the Clone Wars as well, where they think it's all just filler and oh, you should get to season 4 and that's way better. And I'm just like, well, but you guys are missing out on all these other stories if you skip from 0 to friggin' 4. Like you've missed out on a ton of stuff. Brian King, yeah, we're gonna get to Rogue One in just a little bit. I think it might be, no, it's not quite next, but we're gonna get there. I think the Clone Wars movie is it's a mid movie. I don't think it's horrible. There is like the cutesy character in there. It's kind of Dave Filoni stepping first into his cutesy character Disney type theme with, you got Ahsoka, which I'm still, not really all that. I've never been really all that high on Ahsoka. Like she's cool to a certain degree, and then it's almost like I feel like her character should have been killed off at the end of the Clone Wars. And it doesn't really make sense for her character to even still be alive during the original trilogy, because like, where the hell were you? What the hell were you doing? You just float hanging around doing nothing. I've done sat around pouting when you could have actually helped the cause. I don't know. And I've watched Rebels, but like, I don't know. It just seems kind of silly to keep everybody alive. It's just like there's no stakes anymore. Where the original trilogy and the prequels had stakes. Like people died, like in sometimes horrible way. Look at Jango Fett got his head chopped off. Like all of the separatists got mass murdered by Anakin. Like there's no stakes anymore in Disney stuff. You see now, no one dies. There's like Reva gets a lightsaber shoved through her chest, and she completely is. Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Like what? Even Sabine in Ahsoka. That's another one. You got run through and you're perfectly okay. You spend 3 days in the hospital. You're all right. It's weird. There's no stakes. All these characters must live because they're somewhat marketable, or Disney has put money into them. So no one can die now. We can't do that. Jesus. It's weird. But we can kill off all the original trilogy characters. We'll do that. But we're not killing off the new ones. Why would we do that? I don't know. Because maybe the story demands it or needs it to make emphasis on something. I don't know. Going off on a tangent here. I think it's a mid movie. I would put Attack of the Clones above it. Now, moving on to Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo's a weird one. I first saw Solo and I was kind of like, it's fine. And then the more and more I watched it, I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. It's like a heist movie. You're getting your crew together and you're going to do this heist. It goes awry in the beginning of the movie. It's almost like the Italian Job. It's almost exactly like the Italian Job. Things go bad in the beginning. Double crosses happen. And then you got your big heist at the end. And everybody and the good guy comes out at the end, and Han shoots first, and we get an actual character. I just think this is just a fun movie to watch. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's bad. You know what? I'm gonna move some stuff too. I'm gonna move it up to good, but I don't. I gotta put Solo behind Attack of the Clones. I feel like Attack of the Clones is more meaningful than Solo. So, and this is where I said I'm going to kind of adjust things once I start seeing how things kind of end up. But yeah, I just don't. I don't think it's nearly a bad movie. You got the Darth Maul reveal at the end. We were supposed to get a second movie. We never got that because people just, I guess, didn't care to go see this movie. There's weird Disney-isms in here, like giving Han Solo his last name Solo because he's by himself. That's just stupid. How about his name is just Han Solo without trying to make a Marvel joke out of it? I don't know. I like Solo because I watch it every time it comes out on TNT or TBS. It's good. Yeah, I like I said, I think it's a good solid movie, but I don't think it's better than any episode 1, 2, and 3. So I think this is a good spot for it. All right, moving on to Rogue One. All right, so Brian King, like you said it's perfection. I don't think it's perfection. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to stay as objective as possible with this. Rogue One is a story that came from an idea, one sentence idea that someone had in Lucasfilm when George Lucas still owned Lucasfilm. There was an employee with when they were shooting the documentary. I think it was for the prequels, and someone said, "Wouldn't it be cool to do a movie or a TV show about how they achieve the Death Star plans?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh boy, don't do that because then Kyle Katarn is absolutely 86th from canon." So I have my issues with Rogue One. And number one is because I am a fan of Kyle Katarn, not the YouTuber, the character. But I think the wiping away of a lot of characters for Disney to make way for a bunch of characters that are meaningless and going to get killed is a waste. I think you had a really good character in Kyle Katarn that you 86th from existence because you wanted to give us Jen Erso and the rest of the crew. Like I don't see the gravitas there. If I have a choice between everything in Rogue One and Kyle Katarn, I would take Kyle Katarn over that. Yeah, there's stakes. Everybody dies, but we already knew that going in because we had never heard of any of these characters. We knew the end result, and we knew what was going to happen. Now, they could retcon Kyle Katarn down the road and do the whole and change. How about he helped the Bothans get the plans of the second Death Star? They could do that, but I think the ship has sailed on that character, unfortunately, and that's because Disney doesn't know what in that holy Moses they're doing. Now, Rogue One as a movie itself, that aside, I got the Kyle Katarn stuff out of the way. That aside, the movie itself is shot well. It's definitely the best movie that has come out of Disney, objectively speaking. It is a World War II-esque war movie. That's what it is. It's that mixed with that's fine and it's entertaining and it's good. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think there are stakes and everyone dies and that's great and that you can that's one argument to make for why it goes deeper than that. I think it's hard to really like indulge yourself in a character when they're just all going to be 86th at the end of the day. Like it is kind of a to a certain degree a meaningless movie other than getting the plans for the Death Star, which I don't know if there necessarily needed to be a movie about that. But it brought the war into Star Wars. I would disagree with that. There's tons of wars going on in Star Wars before Rogue One happened. I mean, you literally have Attack of the Clones, you have all of the original trilogy, you have episode 3. The opening alone for episode 3 is a huge space battle. I don't remotely think that there was no wars in Star Wars before Rogue One. I maybe possibly you could make an argument for, if you're comparing Rogue One to the sequel trilogy, but even still there's greater battles going on where this is more of a smaller condensed battle that happened once and that's it. So it's a good movie. I don't think it's perfect. Probably indulge and get in with a lot of Boba Fett-esque characters. That's like a wartime movie, and that's fantastic. I the entire series of the Pacific, which I own, and you got to look at the whole thing. The acting is very good. The directing is very good. It's shot very well, but it's kind of a pointless story at the end of the day when you're looking and comparing it to episode 1 through 6. And it shoves in there like it's in there, it's great, it's right in between 3 and 4, but like was it necessary? No, it's not. It does give some more understanding as to why Vader was so convinced that Leia, that does help a little bit, but I think it's I'm going to put it at great behind episode 1. I don't think it's better than episode 3. I almost would say it's less important. Basing is, if I was basing this only on performance on importance, I would put it behind Attack of the Clones because it's just not an important movie at the end of the day. I probably lost Brian King because I'm saying things about a movie that he loves, but it's fine. I guess we can all agree, I guess, to disagree, but I got to look at things as trying to look at things as objectively as possible and not being super subjective and just saying it's perfect and that's it and throwing it in perfect. But it is a really good movie. It's one of the best Star Wars movies and the best Star Wars movie that Disney has ever done. So there's that. And you did get Andor out of it, which is their best show that Disney has ever produced. So, all right, moving on, because we're going to move on now to episode 4. Now, oh, man, this is really hard. The next 3 very, very hard to gauge because if I'm doing this subjectively, these would be in a completely different order, but I have to look at these the right way. The original trilogy is super important, I think, as a whole, the whole trilogy, and I'm gonna break each one down. But the first one is so important. And it why is it so important? And I feel like nowadays when you look at like when Disney anything looks back at the original trilogy, it's with jealousy. You see that a lot. You see that with countless new actor interviews where they call it a patriarchy or they call it this or they call it that. It's they want to take what was lightning in a bottle and bring it down to their level. But it's not. It's up here. You can't compare perfection to below average. So they say these things to try and bring the good thing down. Well, it's not that great because there's not enough women in it, or there's not enough, you know, black or Latino or whatever in it. We got to bring it down. No, you're not going to bring it down because characters speak for themselves. It's not about this or that or that or this. It's about what did the characters serve this? How did the characters serve the story? Not the other way around, which is how they think is the stories have to serve the characters. No, the characters serve the story. How are the characters helping the story move along? How are their decisions helping the story move along? How is the writing helping the story move along? And the original trilogy gets it. This is the difference between someone who has passion that makes a passion project by himself with his own money, as opposed to a corporation that just knows how to take your money. It's a big difference. Huge. Sorry if I keep looking over. I'm just looking to see if anybody's commenting. Episode 4 is the most important film in the Star Wars franchise. I will say that until I'm blue in the face. Why is it important? Well, because at the time in the 70s, there were a lot of it's almost history repeating itself. There were a lot of people that wanted to root for the bad guy. And you see that nowadays. A lot of people want to root for the bad guy. And it's old and tired, and people want to root for the damn hero again. And we're getting people like Leslie Headland saying, no, root for the bad guy. They're cooler. No. We've had Tarantino all through the 90s trying to get us to root for the bad guy. And I love Quentin Tarantino's movies. They're their own thing. But when you're in Star Wars, that doesn't work. You bad guys can look cool and do cool things, but they're still assholes at the end of the day. You don't want to root for the bad guy to win. You never do, because they're murdering assholes. Okay. Anyway, so with episode 4, and like I said, in the 70s, there was a lot of that type of deal with movies, and episode 4 came out, and it was the true traditional hero's journey. And why why did it break all the box offices? Oh, I don't know, because people wanted to actually root for a hero, because at the end of the day, people that go see movies want escapism, and they want to feel good about what they're watching. They do. We genuinely want to feel good about the characters that we're watching and root for them. I don't want to root for the bad guy. It just doesn't. No, like maybe some people do, but I don't. And those people that do root for the bad guy are in the very small minority. That's why episode 4 made over $700 million globally and $500 million I guess, what would you call it? Nationally. So it was the highest box office movie, shattered all the other records from 1977 all the way to 1983 until E.T. came out. It dominated the box office. It was in theaters for a very long time. This was a very important movie in film. and it's just a simple hero's journey movie with sci-fi elements and elements from old westerns and old samurai movies. That's all it is. It's a very simple thing, but it was had to be done to a meticulous perfection. And I think this movie is perfect. I think it is a perfect movie. There are some flaws within it, but I think, even a perfect action figure. I could say this Luke Skywalker is an absolute perfect action figure, but there are flaws with it. Like there's toe joints. I don't like toe joints. They cause more issues down the road. But eh, anyway, like I said, the most important film in all of Star Wars, and I would debate anybody on that. It sets the tone. It sets the bar. It's the Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon ladder match. It's gonna hold that. It's gonna hold the test of time. It's going to be able to hold the bar up and keep it there. And no matter how angsty other new creators want to give a twist to it or try and change it, it can't be changed. So character development, spot on. I think the writing is very good. The acting is very well done. It's just a blend. Like it's like the first Die Hard. It's a blend of perfection. You can't beat it. You can have great sequels like Die Hard 2 is really good. Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite Die Hard, but yet it's not better than the first one. And you still know that. So that's what I think about episode 4. I think it is a perfect movie, especially comparing with the rest of the Star Wars movies. All right, here's the one everybody wants to hear me talk about, which is Empire Strikes Back. I do think it is overall better and important to the franchise. A lot of people will put this number 1 all the time and just say everything else is crap. Just watch episode 5 and you'll be episode 5 and you're good. And I think it is a very good movie. The pacing is very well done. I mean, I could say the same things, regurgitate the same things I said about episode 4 about this movie, but the stakes are higher, I think, or just as high as episode 4, where you have to, you have a Death Star rolling around in episode 4, murdering planets full of people, billion. In this one, you have a much more subdued story. It's not as, the stakes aren't nearly as high, but everyone is also being separated. You've got Luke got to go over here. You've got Luke almost dying in the beginning of the movie. You've got Han and Leia over here. They can't get their ship right. Nothing's going right for the good guys. And a lot of people seem to focus this as an emphasis as to why this movie's so good. But that doesn't make the movie good. The story is what makes the movie good. The overall overarching story makes the movie good. All of the elements that kind of come together make it good or great or perfect. I think it is a perfect movie. I think it's kind of hard to really vote against this one. I don't see really too many flaws within it. There's even some giggly moments in it with certain characters in the background that we all know about. But with maybe an ice cream maker in his arms running down a hallway. But I gotta say, it is kind of hard to put anything before this, if it was subjectively speaking, I would put Return of the Jedi above this, and people would hate it. But that's just what I think. I think for me, it goes to, or I'm sorry, 6, 5, 4 as far as my subjective ranking. I think objectively speaking, it is the best Star Wars film, but not the most important. A lot of people will also say, "Well, you got the Vader reveal, and he's Luke's father." Yeah, and there's reveals in Return of the Jedi that are far more intriguing, and I think you have the most important scene in all of Star Wars in the next movie I'm going to talk about, which is Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi was always my favorite movie. It will always be my favorite Star Wars movie. Um, I will put it second, objectively speaking, because I feel like, a lot of people make giggly jokes like, "Oh, because it's funny to make fun of Ewoks." No, you didn't. You clearly didn't. Anybody that makes fun of Ewoks or makes light of it doesn't quite understand the point of the element of surprise, regardless of, and also not taking your opponent seriously. All throughout sports, um, whether it's boxing, MMA, anybody who has not taken their opponent seriously has usually lost. Sometimes you get a shit talker like a Floyd Mayweather that gets away with it here and there. When he's also kind of picks his poisons as far as who he's going to fight. But sometimes you get away with, like, even Muhammad Ali, losing because he didn't take his opponent seriously and got beat for it. Even if you're the greatest, you can get beat. So that goes to show you, like, it's happened in history that when you let your guard down, when your head is held a little bit too high, chin's too high up in the air, you might get knocked out. And that's just what happened. And it was one battle. It wasn't like the Ewoks took over and destroyed the Death Star and, like, everything. Like, I think people blow it out of proportion. It was one small contained battle on a forest moon. That's it. The Empire also didn't have the biggest or greatest command of their forces on that moon. It was simply very small band of soldiers down there. I know they had some an AT-AT and some ATSTs, but when you look at it, it doesn't look like a huge, large scale battle. When you look at the battle of what happened and how they won, there were some troops, maybe a couple hundred troops down there. A whole planet full of Ewoks. I don't know, man. Like, sometimes the numbers win. They just simply win. And when you don't take your opponent seriously or don't even know they exist, which they clearly didn't, or the element of surprise just got you. It happens. It's happened to it's happened numerous times in history. The Trojan horse. Element of surprise, man. So it happens. And it has happened. So I think that's a stupid point of emphasis to say something is bad. You've got to come with some real, like, why is this so bad? Well, yeah, that's one element that you happen to not like, but why? Because they look teddy bearish? I don't know. Have you played Battlefront 2 Night of the Ewoks? Those guys are scary in the dark, man. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But no, in all seriousness, the most important scene in all of Star Wars is the scene after Luke gives himself up and he's being escorted by Darth Vader to the turbo lift, or whatever you want to call it. And they have a conversation. That conversation is, I think, always to me been the most intriguing and most important. Go back and watch it. Just watch the dialogue, watch the facial expressions. Even you can't see Vader's facial expression, but you can see how well it's shot and how well it's scripted, because you can see Vader really fighting the light side. He's really fighting hard to hold on to the dark, and he's constantly fighting the light. You know, because he was trained in the light, he was born in the light, and he just got diluted by the dark. Anakin's always been fighting the light, trying to harness the dark, and it's hard for him to do at certain times. He's conflicted constantly, and you can see that in this scene with Luke. Father and son scene, it's very meaningful. It's extremely important, because Luke is trying to find, well, no, he's not trying to find, he knows the weakness of his father. He can sense it, he can feel it, and he believes in his father no matter how far he's fallen. And I can relate to that. My father, you know, no one's perfect. Everyone has some skeleton in their closet, and I can relate to that. Your father is your father, and you want to love them and wish and do whatever it is that you can if they still have a relationship with you, or want a relationship with you. Now there's a lot of fathers out there that don't, and those are not very good people. And I completely sympathize with everybody that's ever had to deal with that. But when it comes to a father that has fallen, you want to try and pick them up. And that's the best thing. That's the most important thing as to why Luke Skywalker is one of my all-time favorite characters. He and Superman are probably way up there, and Shazam are so high up there as far as importance to me, because they can see the best in everybody. We strive to be like characters like Luke and Superman and even Shazam. And from a kid standpoint, Shazam was very intriguing because of different reasons, but we strive to be that, and we strive to be like Luke and see the best in people and try to help people as much as possible and redeem them. And Luke in this scene is trying to redeem him. Maybe, I guess a lot of people maybe gloss over this scene and don't really maybe pay attention to it, but it is so important. I can't tell you, go back and watch it. Maybe you'll have a different outlook on it, and maybe a different perspective after me talking about it for a little bit, but it is super important to see, like I said, facial expressions, the tone, and it's just two people talking in a hallway. That's it. Even Vader, when he lights up the lightsaber and Luke has been talking to him and he's so convinced that he can save his father, like when Vader lights up his lightsaber, Luke looks back almost for a second, almost like he's like, oh shit, like, is he gonna get me? Is this it? For a second, you could see it in the corner of his eye. It's just so subtle. It's so well done. It's just so good. It's such good storytelling. Just in a scene with two guys talking in a hallway. That's it. So good. And then the reveal with Leia being a sister, and the humor is there. I feel like this is almost like where all the original trilogy is kind of like The Princess Bride for me. It has everything in it. You know, all three movies have the same elements of everything. Princess Bride to me is a perfect movie as well. It has everything. It has fantasy, it has horror, it has, you know, humor, it has action, it has adventure, it has like everything. Great dialogue, jokes, you know, it's just got everything. It's the original trilogy just has everything. It is lightning in a bottle. It's Jaws. Jaws is lightning in a bottle. It's, you know, it's The Godfather Part 2. That's lightning in a bottle. It's just some movies just are just, you got three of them. You got 3 of them. You know how hard it is to just get one? Sorry for bumping my mic, but it's crazy to me that we got 3 like perfect ass movies. It's insane. And I think you got a really good conclusion. To me, episode 6 will always be the greatest conclusion to Star Wars. Nothing needs to really come after it. That's it. And if there was something to come after it, it needed to be about Luke and the new Jedi Order, which we got in the books, and that's great. And I'm glad I have my EU because Disney stuff, we're going to get to it right now because we're going to talk about episode 7. Good transition. And I could dive further into why a lot of parts in 4, 5, and 6 are super important. And maybe I could do that for a video down the road, but I don't want to make this too long. Episode 7 is probably, episode 1 for me was highly anticipated. Episode 7 was a mystery. Anticipated, yes. As highly as episode 1, no. There is a huge gap between episode 3 and episode 7, but I don't think when it came out, as far as importance goes, it was nearly on the level of the original trilogy or episode 1 through 3. Where do I start with this? There's a lot to say, and I could really beat a dead horse, and I'm pretty sure I've said what I need to say about episode 7. I think it's a mid movie. So I'm going to put it in mid. I really do. I think it's just been there, done that, seen it. Nothing too special. Keep moving. Maybe, is that episode 7? Let me make sure, because I don't remember that poster being that. Or is that episode 7? I can't tell. I don't know what this is. What is it? Oh, no, maybe that's... I'm trying to see. I don't know what that movie poster is. Let's move this. What's this one? Oh, no, okay. That's episode 9. Okay. All right. So I'll put this at... I almost want to put this at meh. Yeah, we'll put it at meh. Because... oh, boy. It's essentially episode 4. And I know people have said that before, but it really is like it. There's nothing new here. Nothing new has been done. I don't understand how you completely ignore the character of Luke Skywalker in a Skywalker saga movie because you were scared as a director, J.J. Abrams. You were scared as a director that he was going to ruin the importance of your new characters. When I hear that, I hear anybody say that about a character that they've created, saying that, oh, we can't have these other characters in there because my characters won't be important. What does that say for your characters? Maybe you need to rewrite. If your characters are so boring that other characters that were, already important in this saga are going to take away from your new characters, then why are we even bothering with these characters in episode 7? Maybe these characters need to be so far in the future or in the past that they get their own story and we can focus on them instead of shoveling new characters that are meaningless into a movie of more meaningful characters. This movie should have been surrounded around Luke, Han, and Leia. It was the most important thing to get those characters back and see what they can do. People, I mean, I as a kid in my 40s, as a kid, I yearning to see what Luke can do on screen in live action after episode 6. That's all I ever wanted to see. Got to read it in books, saw it in comics, still want to see it in live action. What's he been up to? What's he capable of? Show me. Don't tell me. Show me. J.J. Abrams doesn't know how to do any of these things. He doesn't understand, and he's a yes man, and he's a hack writer, and he likes to put things into mystery boxes and doesn't like to explain anything. And was the worst choice for anything having to do with Star Wars. By and far the worst choice for any of this. And I will stick to that until I'm blue in the face, like I said earlier. The movie it's not necessarily bad. It's not, I would say it's below average. It looks great, but you know, if a gold covered turd looks great to you, you still know that under that gold covering is a pile of shit. So at the end of the day, a turd is still a turd, regardless of whether it has gold on it or not. So character designs look really good. I will give it to whoever came up with the character designs. You did a really good job. Story is a retread. Characters are basic and just, I don't know, I had a ton of potential, but there's not a whole lot there. When you've got one character figuring everything out, and then the other character is I don't know, he's what can I say? What can I compare Finn to? Finn is the most dropped ball in all of Star Wars. He could have had so much better of a character. He could have been a part of the new Jedi Order and have been a Jedi with Luke. He could have, you know, I don't know, like it could have a defected, you know, force sensitive character like him could have been, you know, the new apprentice of many Jedi. He could have, there's so much more that they could have done, and they just made him the funny guy that screams a lot. And it's just a huge drop ball. Poe was an intriguing character in episode 7, and what happened? He's just the guy that's really good at flying. But then again, how important is the guy that can fly really well if the main character can do everything? Maybe the story should have just been about Rey. If she can just do everything. Got a problem with your Han, you got a problem with your ship? I'll fix it. Boom, here you go. I don't even know what this thing was called before, but I figured it out. No, I've never flown the Millennium Falcon in my life. Oh, for a fact. I used to race cars. Okay. I used to autocross. I used to drag race. I used to do a lot of stuff. Road race. Getting into a car that you've never been into before, you have to spend, you don't just hop in a fucking vehicle and poof. It's like I've been driving it for years. No, that's not how that works, man. I'm sorry. No. things move different. Their weight is different. I don't know. It just don't. I mean, I could sit here and I can nitpick it to death, but I feel like maybe I could literally make probably an hour video just discussing the ever loving problems of this movie. But we're going to move on because I don't want to spend all night here sitting here talking about Disney Star Wars. Episode 7. Well, I think we all know where that's going. It's going in the drizzling shit because that's where it belongs. This is one of the absolute worst Star Wars movies I have ever seen. Period. I don't understand how anyone, and please, we can do a nice, if you want to come on the channel, we can do a nice, objective, adult conversation debate if you want to. We can have a nice conversation. It doesn't have to be volatile. But if anybody wants to defend this movie, I would love to debate them. I would absolutely love it. Because there are a shit ton of problems with this movie. The director himself is doing things for the sake of doing them, not because they make sense. He's throwing in scenes in this movie that are meaningless. Canto Bight. Absolutely meaningless plot and a forced love story that's not even a mutual love story. You can tell Finn is not into Rose Tico whatsoever throughout the entire friggin' movie. And then she sexually assaults him and kisses him, even though he didn't kiss her back. So we want to get into all the sexual assault stuff. Okay, let's do that. If it was a guy that just kissed a girl, oh my God. Oh my God. Get the lynch mob out. Cancel culture. So this is why I needed a beer for this. Because I knew I was going to have to get to this stuff. Like, we have to be explained that the salt flats are not snow. It's salt by someone licking it and then telling us that. Because we, the audience, we're too stupid to know that. We're just a bunch of cavemen and women. We don't know any better. So we have to be told that the white stuff is salt. Because salt doesn't exist in our universe. I don't know. That's another nitpicky thing that I'm pointing out. But it's just stupid. It don't even get me started on Luke Skywalker, because I could sit here for 2 hours talking about the drop ball with this character and how people like Rian Johnson and people that like to create. And if you look at Rian Johnson's movies, he loves to do that with all of his characters. He can't help himself, making the broken down character and subverting expectations for the sake of doing it just because it's something like a gotcha. I don't know what the point of doing that is. Ooh, I'm going to get the audience. Is that's important to you? Is to get the audience, not to tell an actual story that's worthwhile with characters that could be, veteran characters that are meaningful and were meaningful and still far more meaningful than anything Disney's produced. And they're still trying to hold on to them for dear life to make a buck. Try to make them worthless to make them meaningful again. That's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. But that's the only word that I can explain how I feel about this stupid ass movie. And objectively, it's stupid because it's not like we haven't seen this before. It didn't reinvent the wheel. We've seen this with tons of other characters in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. We've seen the hero broken down character to the nth degree. We've seen the stupid hero character to the nth degree. This is nothing new. I don't know why people use this as a point of emphasis that, oh, well, it's a totally different take on Luke Skywalker. No, it's not. It's not. It's been done hundreds of times. I know I'm getting animated, but because it's just fucking annoying hearing people constantly say the same thing over and over again because they hear the echo chamber. I don't understand what that's never been done before. No, have you never watched any film in your life? I know I'm a former actor myself, theater major. I have a theater degree, but holy shit, man, go watch some movies. If that's the way you feel, I see these posts all the time. People need to defend the Last Jedi for what it really is, something different. What? Have you never seen any other films? I could understand if this was the first film you've ever seen, because then you have nothing else to compare it to. But holy shit, man. The story sucks. The choreography and the fight scenes are probably the worst out of any of them. I think The Rise of Skywalker has better choreography than this movie. The timing is completely off on a lot of the fight scenes. People are standing around waiting for the next spot so they can stick a knife somewhere or a weapon somewhere so they can be blocked. And while I understand, like if this were reality, right? Let's put ourselves in a box, right? Let's put ourselves in reality. These duels would probably last 10 to 15, maybe 30 seconds in reality. These would not be 5 to 10 minute long duels. It wouldn't happen. We're talking about light blades, lightsabers that are hot, probably hotter than hell, and are conducting a ton of energy and being wielded around. It wouldn't last long. The moment someone missed, there's no dancing, there's no kicking, there's no punching, there's no your limbs are gone, and stabby, you're dead, and that's it. So I get it, but from a fantasy standpoint, it's terrible. It's absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, I have seen worse, but those are movies with a lot less budget than this movie. The characters are odd in this one. They start throwing things, new force abilities out there that, where'd you learn to do that? Let's do force telekinesis or telepathy. Sorry. Telepath. And we'll just phone each other. Hey, Ray, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know. I'm in the bathroom right now taking a dump. Oh, I know. I can see. Did you forget how this works? I can see you. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just finishing up here. Got to pay the taxes, It's stupid. The force healing thing is some of the worst shit. It is almost damn near story breaking. How do you tell a story of someone dying and sacrificing when you have force heal? I don't quite get it. Just the stakes are gone at that point. I could go further detail about episode 8. It's probably my most hated Star Wars film ever. It is bad. And like I said, I will absolutely 100% debate anybody who wants to defend it. Like I said, in a meaningful way and in a kind way, but I would like to debate anybody who wants to defend it. Just because someone tries to do something different, remember this, just because someone tries to do something different does not mean the different thing is good. The different thing can still be bad and fail. It can do that. And anyway, episode 9 is far the worst, not my most hated, but the worst film. Is the first and only Star Wars. So I was between episode 8 and 9, two people in a pissing contest to see how much bigger their ding dong is, and see, oh well, you broke this part of the lore. Well, I'll fix it with throwing your lore out with the next film. And J.J. Abrams set up the boring thing, and then Rian Johnson set up his boring thing, and so it was like a contest to see who can do the most boring bullshit out of anybody. And then J.J. Abrams came back with that third one. He was like, "Oh yeah, well, I'll show you Goonies, and I'll give you 1-4 with throwing that lightsaber away, mister." Jesus, it's like two children, the 40-year-old men with two children. Sorry, I get very animated. Anyway, this movie is just a I guess a complete cluster of nonsense. It's I don't know why characters are doing things. Characters are bringing stuff up, and it never gets a payoff, which is nothing new with J.J. Abrams. What you would think by episode 9, it's the last one, we're going to get some sort of payoff here. Oh, what happened to Luke's hand? Oh, what happened to Luke's lightsaber? How did they get to the point, the point of origin that it did? We got to move on, keep going. Story's got to keep moving. We're over here now. We're not over there anymore. Don't worry about that. More of the same old shit as episode 7. I think episode 7 is the better film out of the 3, but I don't. That's low hanging fruit touching the ground. So, I mean, I don't really know how to really dive into episode 9. There's not really much to, they had to bring Palpatine back. Why? I don't know, because Palpatine's back. Somehow Palpatine's back. He's just back. But what? Because moving on, let's go over here now. Back over here. Don't worry about the past and what happened. No. We're over here now. We're in the future. The acting is far more cringe in this than any of these 3 movies. I don't know what happened, but it just got worse. And it's like they saw what Marvel was doing with comedy, and they were like, we got to throw some of that in there. They fly now. 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 It's just. And how did they just accidentally fall into quicksand, all of them together, and just happen to find what was it, like a worm or something? And they found this dagger that they weren't even looking for. Got it, but and then the Wayfinder too. Yeah, that's important, right? Because we got to get to Exegol, and then we got Star Destroyers that are underneath the ground. I don't know why. I honestly thought a freaking 10-year-old wrote this. I was like, maybe J.J. Abrams brought in the wrong script. This was his son's script. all due respect to his son, he's 10. Well, I'm just joking. I don't know how old his son is. He's 10 years old. He's just wrote his first script. Maybe handed in the wrong script. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what is this? This is hot shit. Like, how did this make it? Like, Solo got multiple rewrites and had to be reshot multiple times. What happened here? What happened with episode 9? I don't get it. It's like I don't know, like a blind person wrote the script and a 10-year-old ghost wrote it. I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's still a mystery to me that this movie actually made it to a theater. I'm shocked at the end result with this movie. It's horrible. These two movies are absolute the drizzling shits. I'm sticking to that. They're by far the two worst Star Wars movies I have ever seen. They don't understand any of these characters in these movies. They don't even understand their own characters, I don't think. And it's just like they threw in a bunch of shit in episode 9 because fans complained about, oh, no one saw Rey training, so we got to throw a Rey training scene in there. What's she going to do? I don't know. She'll just do some random shit. We'll just have Daisy Ridley just run around and do flips and shit. But we got this really cool scene with her flipping over a TIE fighter and cutting the wing off. And what? Okay, but why? Someone should have been in that room asking, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this thing? Oh, I don't know. Because that's what we're doing. That was probably the answer, maybe. I don't know. But you can see the quality drop completely after the with the sequel trilogy. It's by far some of the worst shit. When people beat up the Acolyte, I would put I would put episode 9 with the Acolyte. I think it's just as bad. I think episode 9 is one of the worst things I have ever seen. It's terrible. Anyway, character designs though, looking good. I love the way Rey looks. I love the way Dark Rey looks. I like the way Palpatine looks. I want figures of all of those, just based on only strictly character design. Story sucks. The pacing sucks. The directing sucks. It's just all around bad. Other than character design, which is the only thing that I think is a remote good thing to come out of episode 9. Excuse me. Oh my God, I am yawning because I am dehydrated and talking. But anyway, I think I'm pretty happy with and pleased where I have everything here. I guess maybe I could make it an argument that I placed Attack of the Clones a little bit high, but I think it's fine where it is. I still don't think it's a atrocious movie. I would say it's the worst of the prequels. Solo, I think, is right where it needs to be. I think this is where I would keep everything. I don't know. What do you guys think, though? What do you all think? If you're watching this on playback, let me know. Do you disagree? Do you agree? I don't know. This is all for fun at the end of the day, regardless of however I feel or however I think about these movies. If they're in completely the opposite order for you and you've got the original trilogy and the drizzling shits and you got the sequel trilogy all the way in perfect, go for it. Until you're blue in the face, have fun with it. If it makes you happy, go for it. But I would love to debate you. I would love to actually see facts as to how you think that, or if it's just completely subjective. But anyway, let me get back to this over here. Hello, everybody. All right. So I think that might be it for this stream. I wanted to make this kind of short and sweet. Like I said, I even titled it "Tiering Every Star Wars Film," and I think this is a good place to end. Next time I'll be back in the cave. Like I said, I'll be back in the man room, the toy room, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think this was pretty fun to do. It's good to also get it all out. You know, I don't think I've actually even talked about all of the Star Wars films in a video, so it's good to kind of get that out so everybody can kind of, I guess, see it from my perspective, which is fine. You know, everyone's got their own perspective. I completely understand that. So, it's not a knock on how I feel about the movies. Aren't a knock on really anybody else, but mostly a knock on the film creators if I didn't like it or whatever. But anyway, maybe we'll do a Star Wars TV show tiering down the road. Wouldn't mind doing that and giving my perspective on that. Other than that, like I said, I don't have any pickups. I've been I guess it's the drought season. There were some reveals. Let me go and see if I can find these reveals really quick. What are these? Monsters? 5.5-inch figures? Whew. By Ego Stuff? These look fun. Let me screen share so you can see what the hell I'm talking about here. Look at these guys right here, and that's pretty cool. Something different. Bulltooth action figure. Shamumu. Venom Nom. Sting Cobra. I feel like that's kind of redundant. Those are funny. Those are funny. Monsters. That would be cool. Be cool if somebody brought back Battle Beasts with the actual hologram in their chest. We got some new Street Fighter pre-orders with Guile, Cammy. Pretty cool. I'm definitely going to pick them up. I still have to get both these guys, Bison and Dasim. I always say that name wrong, so if you're giggling at me in the comments, I get it. And then we've got DJ. So I did go ahead and pre-order those. I gotta pick these two up. I'm just gonna do that this week, I think. But those are available, readily available. I'm glad we're getting a lot of Street Fighter 2 stuff. It's, I think, still my favorite. Street Fighter 2 Turbo is my favorite. And then we've got these reveals and pre-orders up. And I guess I will touch on these really quick just because first we'll start with Dagon Gera. He's not my favorite villain in the Jedi series, but he is unique. I got to say that. He is unique. They're really pushing that. They've been pushing the High Republic stuff, and they're going to keep pushing it, I guess, because we still have not got Malicos yet. I don't know why we're skipping the first game's villain, or one of them. He's got a unique look. He's a former Jedi, fallen Jedi, and it would have been cool to get him first and then get Dagan Gera a little bit later, but I guess we're getting Dagan Gera first because he represents the High Republic. That's important to Disney for whatever reason. I don't know why. That's probably the worst era to ever even tell stories, because what story is there to tell? It's 1,000 Years of Peace. I don't know. But the figure looks great. I think it looks pretty good. It's got the missing arm. It would have been cool. Maybe we'll get like a deluxe figure down the road with the force arm that you can detach and reattach. That would be really cool. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good. I don't have an issue with this figure. I already went ahead and pre-ordered him. I'm hoping that we get what's his face? His kind of like crony dude. I can't remember his name offhand. I'll have to look it up. Let's see here. Jedi Survivor. But yeah, I would like Seer. Even Endor Cordova, I would love a figure of him. But Seer, whether it's Survivor, which I would prefer her Survivor look. Mirren is super important. I can't not believe that we have not gotten a Mirren figure. I want a Survivor figure first of her, and then get the Fallen Order later. Grease, like they even have the mold from what was his name from Solo. They have that mold that they can use for Grease, and they didn't do him yet. Bode should be made. He's another one of the many villains that were featured in Survivor. The Ninth Sister hasn't been made. Like Jaro DePaul, not made. I don't know how. Terran Malicos, like I already brought him up. And then Ravis. That was the other guy I was talking about. Ravis, not made. So I don't understand how. I mean, as army builders, you could make dead Night Sisters and stuff like that. Like, I feel like we kind of got the bare minimum with a lot of the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order video games. Like these should have been high emphasis. I would have thought this is new media. It's all the check marks for what Disney would want. New media, new characters, Disney-made characters, Disney story. I would have thought they would have heavily pushed it, but they didn't. We barely got, we got 2 Cal Kestis or 3 Cal Kestises. I don't think we needed 3. We just needed 2. We could have given us Seer. Instead, we didn't get, we got Knight Brothers, 2 different versions of him. We got the clone troopers from there. I would have thought that we would have got character. I mean, they could literally use Grease. Not Grease. Grease also has a body mold, but you also have got from Rebels. You could reuse the majority of his body to give us a Jaro T'Pol. I don't understand the thought process here with that. I mean, most of this toy line is reuse, the gaming grade stuff. So I don't know, man. It's weird. It's just weird shit. It is weird that they just, I don't know how they pick and choose stuff. It is very odd to me that they decided not to do a lot of characters that are heavy hitters in the video game. They just ignored them. And then we randomly get a Dagon Gera out of nowhere. Very strange. Very, very strange to me. But there he is. Let's move on. Let's move on. Next up, we got probably, and I just was talking about the Figuarts. I'm still going to get this, I think. I think this is a improvement over the original Luke with the cloth goods. Now, I got custom cloth goods for my Luke, and it's a lot less puffy. So my cloth goods Luke just needs a new head because he got that little peanut head, which I'm not a big fan of the peanut head. I'll be honest with you. But I think the Figuarts, if you already have the Figuarts Luke, you could probably pass on this. That's money less spent right there. Or you could just buy the Leia, because I think the Leia is the new Leia, which we're going to get to in a second, is better than that. But face is a little bit weird on this one. It looks very Lego person hair. You know, it looks like kind of like, you know, he's got a Lego helmet on. So that's a little odd. I like the accessories he comes with. I like the plastic robe and everything. Gi, whatever you want to call it. I think it looks good overall. I just think the face looks a little off. And I know Mark's got that face that is kind of hard to capture in action figure form, but I just don't think anything can beat Dagobah Luke. And this is kind of weird because I don't remember Luke ever having bangs like this in the front. Like, I know he had like the comb over kind of, in the closest thing that you got to it was probably Return of the Jedi, but this doesn't feel like Farm Boy Luke. He had the part in the middle. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. I've watched those movies probably 1,000 times, maybe more. I don't remember him having this haircut. I'm not. So, but I don't know. I'm still probably going to pick it up. I'll probably get a custom head for it and keep it moving. He can go with my land speeder. And that'll be that. Leia, on the other hand, holy God, she looks amazing. I think this is one of the best Leias. It's clearly the best A New Hope Leia. The face sculpt is spot on, perfect. Because Carrie back then, she had a little bit of a rounder, like, chin and stuff like that. Whereas you see her in, she actually dropped a lot of weight for Return of the Jedi because George wanted her in the bikini, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta drop some weight." So, and she was already a rail. You know, she was never like a big, you know, overweight or anything. Like, she was in really good shape. But she had that younger kind of, you know, 20s, I guess, baby fat a little bit in the face, a little puffy. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but probably is. But I love the hood, how it fits right over the head, and it makes it look like it's really draping off the head. It looks great. She comes with an E11, and it's the original E11 blaster, I think, from the original mold that we got. And yeah, this looks fantastic. I think you know, as much as I do love cloth goods, I don't think it worked that well for that first iteration. I woke up really early today. Sorry. The first iteration of Leia there. But I think this is a top tier figure right here. I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait for it to come out. February of 2025. Can't wait. So I pre-ordered all of those, and then I believe, was there anything else? Oh, they did put up The Force Ghost Spirit or Force Spirit 3-pack up for pre-order here, and the Last Command box set. If you missed out, I think the Disney store also has it in stock, and I think it is back in stock at Hasbro Pulse. So if anybody missed out on the Last Command box set, it is in all three websites now. Next up, they popped up the they popped up the pre-orders for the Commando droid, the BX series, and I could definitely see them making the ND5 figure from Outlaws, which I'm going to make a whole video about Outlaws. But yeah, I think this looks really good. Very simplistic. I know they were heavily focusing on talking about it being able to move around and pose in various flexible positions, because that's kind of how they would fight. Where the Magna Guard had a different style to them. These guys were kind of like ninjas almost. So I love the was it the Vibroblade? I believe they have. Pretty cool. So really good job on this one. Very pleased with it. There's a full body shot, and you can see that these are not the hips aren't very hindered, or even that close to really be bumping into anything. Hopefully it doesn't bump or anything like that. Maybe they got maybe they have drop downs, but I doubt it. But it looks good. So I pre-ordered a couple of those. And then these pre-orders went up about a week or so ago. About a week and a half ago, maybe. Which is nice that they're re-releasing Darth Malak, this Clone Wars Obi-Wan, which is actually inaccurate, but you could use that head for a different Obi-Wan if you wanted to. And then you got Asajj Ventress, which I know was difficult for people to get. Oh my God. Can't stop yawning. And then I recently also got a notification saying that my Cassian Andor was about to ship, or about to be available for my pile of loot. So pretty excited about that. He's coming in early, so keep your ears to the ground as far as notifications go. I didn't pre-order K2SO because I already have 2 of them, and I don't need another. And if I did get another, I would want it on discount. I just don't know. I'm going to pay $25 for K2SO again for the 3rd time. And he would just go in my Imperial display anyway. Deidre, I already pre-ordered her. I already talked about her and Maul and stuff like that. Rex and Clone Commander Fox are back. They're in stock. So, and they've been up for a couple days now, which I'm shocked that Rex isn't sold out and he's not sold out. But I think people maybe are catching on to the fact that I think we're going to get a 2023 bodied Rex. So maybe he's just a head swap away from being on that 2023 body. Bosk is in stock again, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I didn't get any notifications on the Armored Commando or Ahsoka or anything else. So everything else, I'm not even going to bother with IG-12. I think that's kind of a waste. They should just came out with an IG-11. But new media's got to do new media shit. So there's not a fan of IG-12. If it drops a discount under 20, maybe I'll pick it up. But yeah, no, I'm good. And then we still got everything else is pretty much doing pretty well in stock and stuff like that. So that's been pretty much it for Star Wars. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I should probably go check out. Let's see. I wanted to touch on Dragon Man. Let's see here. And I do have to go check on my dogs because my dogs probably have to go pee. Let's see here where I think he might he's only on the Hasbro Pulse site. But anyway, I'll talk about Dragon Man while I'm kind of surfing here little bit. I love the idea of 86ing HasLabs and just doing a pre-order, made to order figure. Order as many as you want, and you'll get those. And then whoever doesn't want to order them, don't have to order them. I hate the idea that if enough people don't back something, you don't get it. Like, I wanted the Rancor. Couldn't get it. Why? Not enough people. It's not fair to the people that actually want the damn thing and want to pay for it. It's just not fair. I know, I get it. Everything in life isn't fair. Life isn't fair in general. But, you know, I think that's a better business model to go off of. I think it's a more successful and lucrative business model to go off of. Just grab the people that want it, make it, move on. You're making figures for customers. Those customers will come if they want it. If they don't want it, only make a small run of them, and that's it. Move on. That's it. Trying to see. I just shipped a bunch of my stuff. There's not really been too much on the G.I. Joe front. I want to say G.I. Joe probably had probably the worst Hasbro PulseCon. It was just figures that we have already seen, just better renderings and in physical form. So nothing really all that special. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Black Series, I think, had the best panel at Hasbro Comic Con or Hasbro PulseCon or whatever the hell it's called now. I don't know what it's called. But I did get a notification that the Retro Sergeant Stalker has been shipped, and Hasbro Pulse let me know that my Retro Cobra Commander is shipping. So I should have those, and I'm going to be doing in the month of October a whole bunch of G.I. Joe figure reviews. So for all the people that are here only for the G.I. Joe stuff, I totally understand you. I totally hear you. I've been focused a lot heavily on Star Wars, but I'm going to be focusing a lot in the month of October with G.I. Joe. So there'll still be Star Wars stuff, but there's going to be a lot of Joe stuff. A lot of Joe stuff is coming out. A lot of Joe stuff I haven't shot as far as reviews. They're going to be older figures that I haven't really touched on. I want to give my perspective on them, and a lot of new ones too. So there's that. I don't think that there's anything else. I don't know if there really was anything else that was. Oh, the Punisher 2-pack dropped, which I don't think it's all that great of a 2-pack. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Savage Crucible Wave 2 has been up for a little while, which it's nice to see because Wave 1 sold out very quickly and then was never back up ever again and is now taken down. So you can't even get any of those, which is pretty whack. But these look really great. I don't know if I can justify spending $50 anymore on one figure unless it's like a deluxe figure. Like it's gotta make sense that way. And I don't have, if I was always, Savage Crucible, if I just started collecting and I was like, well, I'm going to get Savage Crucible, I would be able to make room for it. But I just can't. So, but these look great. They do look absolutely fantastic. I don't know. Maybe I would just, if I were to just pick up one, it would probably be one of these Vegeta figures, just because I love his artwork. It's just so iconic. But I don't know. I have to think on that. So, but other than that, I think that's going to draw this to a close. I don't think there's really anything left to chat about at this point. But this was a lot of fun to do. I definitely went on longer than I thought I was going to. So, but I would like to thank my 2 members. Thank you, Terry, and thank you, or Terry Turner, and thank you, Woodman29. I do have memberships currently up. It is in the current description box below if you want to become a member. I do have some perks on there. I'm going to be doing a giveaway for members only as soon as I get to at least 8 members. And I think I'm going to plan a couple things I'm going to give away. Might do a Marvel Select figure, might do a Black Series figure, and then might do a classifieds also. So, but I got to get to at least 8 to make it even worthwhile to do one, because I'm not going to do a giveaway with just a couple members. So, so yeah, that'll be happening. There's custom emojis, custom badges, and shout outs, and also comments are priority for all members as well. So I'm going to be trying to come up with maybe another, another tier, maybe at like 99 cents for people that don't want to spend, $3 a month or whatever. If you don't want to, I get it. But yeah, so that's still kind of like a work in progress, but I do want to do maybe down the road, I'll do some t-shirts and stuff like that. I don't know how, if I get enough members, I'll do that. And then I'll do free t-shirts to members and stuff like that. That's stuff I've been considering doing. So, it won't just be a me t-shirt. It'll be like something funny or quirky, or, a Jive Turkey t-shirt or something like that. I don't know. Something funny. Maybe it'd be like a turkey, a jive, like a turkey with a neck like this or something, holding 2 figures. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get to that road. But yeah, so memberships are up. I'm about to lose my voice. And I gotta go let my dogs out, man. I gotta go take care of the babies. So other than that, thank you to everybody. Thank you to Brian King also for hanging out tonight. And thank you for the discussion piece. I appreciate that. And I hope you guys have a great night. And I will see you guys on the flip side.